So someone was in me comments saying that they think it's ludicrous that I think that Mason Rudolph is the best player in the NFL. So today I'm going to try to explain why I think that he... damn it. Should I worry about what's going on in my background? No, you can see my bathroom. My undies are there, I think, too. Remember, people, practicality over aesthetics. And I make that point on my website. Here's a nice little chance for a plug. Because the Chicago Bears, I think, have been signing and prioritizing guys who look great in pads, who they prefer to sign good-looking athletes over effective ones. So you can watch my analysis of that, try to prove that hypothesis by paying $3.50 for $3.50 for this, either as a one-off payment or a month-to-month basis. You pay month-to-month, you get access to all my content. I'm going to close that door because it's going to annoy me. Put this light on to showcase the art I've got by Habstract, one of the best musicians in the world, in my opinion, and objectively. Where was I? Yeah, so watch that video, pay me money for it, because I deserve it. Look at all the work I've put in, man. Come on. So, yeah, we'll evaluate Rudolph. I reached out to his people to try and evaluate his film with me, like I've done with Demontre Tuggle, one of the best running backs in the world. Got some free content of his, all in one place here on my website, and I interviewed him where he broke down his preseason tape with the Chicago Bears, and he broke down his college highlights with me. So if you want to find out how an elite running back approaches the game, it's a great resource. So check that out. Anyway, someone's called me out as to why I think Rudolph's the best player in the NFL, and this video will hopefully explain why. I compiled this 2022 preseason highlights, so let's just get right into it. 3rd and 13. So he needs to know that he doesn't want to take a sack because that might make you outside field goal range. Looks like a 4-man rush with the linebackers kind of in no man's land somewhat, just backing up. And who else can make this accurate of a throw? That is a dime to the far corner, okay? His deep ball is the best I've ever seen. So he lets the play develop. And maybe his mentality is, okay, we're at least getting a field goal. 3rd and 13, might as well go for broke here. And just drops an absolute dime. And that's tough to do, I think, against soft coverage. Because usually you would think that the cornerback's not going to allow anything deep. But Rudolph sees that the corner is showing pretty poor technique. Free release, essentially. And whoop, he's got a beautiful vertical... like a trebuchet. Just all he's got to worry about is how far he throws it, because his throwing technique is perfect because it's vertical, right? So there's no x-axis to worry about. All it is y-axis, like the velocity and the distance to throw it, because you don't want to be like Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson side-arming it, because then you've got to worry about accuracy on the y-axis and the x-axis, right? The best quarterbacks have a beautiful vertical throwing motion. And he just drops this just perfectly. And, okay, if anyone watched my recent Brock Purdy analysis video, I said he doesn't escape pressure quickly enough. He doesn't diagnose it. But look what Rudolph's done. He's done a pirouette to create more space for himself, and then drops it. And I remember Dane Brugler, one of the prominent draft analysis guys, said that Rudolph has a weak arm. I I'd like to see the tape as evidence. And again, maybe he said that maybe when Rudolph was coming out of the draft, but mind you, I thought Rudolph was the best quarterback coming out of the draft in 2018. That includes guys like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. You can see my blog as proof of that, which is on my website. Here's a link. But yeah, so Rudolph, unfortunately, I compile my edits like I start the play when the snap is made, so it's a little bit difficult to see what's going on pre-snap. But 2nd and 7, so backed up a bit. Like the first, I'm assuming it was a run, didn't necessarily gain much yardage, but can see all 3 players here, doesn't key in on one target. And then he's got an internal timer where he's like, okay, it's been a few seconds. I've got to get out of here because an elite rusher might be at me. And I think he showed, how does he know to wheel out behind him? Is Nwosu in his field of vision? And he's like, oh shit, this guy's collapsing in, but he's the edge defender. So therefore, I've got some space on the outside. So he wheels out and just throws a bit of a dart on the run and accurate. Like, how many times have you seen Mahomes do his sidearm shit and then a receiver's got to put heaps of effort in to make the grab? Like, you've got to make it easy on your receivers because, frankly, everyone's having a go at some of the Chiefs receivers for drops. And yes, I'm not a fan of the Chiefs receivers generally, like Tony and Valdez-Scantling. But Mahomes, I don't think throws all that catchable of a ball because it's sidearm. It might be a wobbler. Rudolph throws the best ball in the league, I think. So what's this one? 3rd and 4. That's a 5-man rush. He trusts his receiver, and this is a big thing when you look at Rudolph's performances over the years, is that he's had some really mediocre receivers. Like, if you watch, I think I've got some I feature some highlights that are drops in this video, and frankly, just like a guy who deserves to be in the NFL would make the grabs, and the guys who don't, like Deontay Jackson, not a fan of, George Pickens, I don't really like, Pat Frymuth, they're just sloppy with their hands, and then they have some fumble issues as well, generally. Rudolph, I think, if you gave him a Travis Kelce, like, that would be an unstoppable duo. If you gave him a Tyreek Hill as well, that Mahomes had, I think Rudolph it'd be an unstoppable offense. Whereas the Chiefs have had some doubts, particularly this year when they've lost some big games because of some of their receivers' flaws. But I think I did an analysis where if Rudolph has never lost, if Rudolph has had at least 20 pass attempts in his career, I think he has never lost a game by more than 6 points. So if you have Rudolph having pass attempts on your team in the NFL, you're going to be within striking distance of winning. And it's something like a 5-5-1, 5 losses, 5 wins, and a draw. That's Rudolph's record. So those numbers alone, I think, say, all right, Rudolph's an impact player. And yeah, he's had some losses when he's got some opportunities, but frankly, I don't think he's been worth all that much. And these guys aren't playing in a vacuum, you know. There's other factors that goes into good numbers and team success. Anyway, Rudolph showing his arm, throws it right where only his receiver can get it. I don't mind James Washington, or was that Miles Boykin? I don't know. Throwing the ball with good velocity, man. Okay, so he understands that this guy is one-on-one. He's got a nice cushion, so all it takes is the receiver to turn back. And he's already in the process of throwing it, so he trusts his receiver that much. And that's a nice after-the-catch turn, and good job. So I think this is evidence. So his ball placement is just unparalleled. So this is an example of in traffic, his throwing motion is still going to be effective because it's nice and vertical, so it gets over the head of the defensive lineman and right where only his receiver can get it. This is him throwing on the run. That's an accurate throw. That's good. And look, this is just in his preseason, so it's only across like 3 games. 2022 preseason. So it's only across 3 games, so the highlights aren't going to be unbelievable. But remember, I managed to draw out 3 minutes of highlights just from his preseason play. So identifies the open guy and just rifles it. He's just really smooth. And I like the fact that he puts the ball high, or at least where a guy can grab it like this, because I think that's the most secure grab, grabbing it, and then that's easy to tuck in, and then they can do stuff after the catch. Alright, just really good ball placement. I think, alright, let's have a look at, I've got not only that I put together, but Mason Rudolph versus Lions. Here we go. So this is 1 game in 2021. Okay. So I think that was a high snap. It's just beautiful. I think it was a high snap. And he has the wherewithal to give a pump fake to shake some defenders off. And then a beautiful vertical throwing motion that goes over the helmet of this player, I'm assuming. Look, he's not afraid to rifle it, even with... he's just got a beautiful ability to understand when he should make a throw. Actually, look, I won't be self-promoting. Anyway, you can watch these highlights for yourself. Maybe we'll watch a couple more plays. The most relevant highlights would be his recent playoff game, where unfortunately his team lost, but you know, I honestly don't think the personnel were all that great. And remember, Rudolph led like a 3-win streak to get the Steelers into the playoffs. So it's clear that he's a difference maker just from that alone. So I think that was just good play analysis. Is this? Oh, yeah, I used to compile highlight tapes chronologically rather than what was the best highlight, like best highlight to least best. So this is not going to show off the best highlights, but this is a deep ball that, see, look, a better receiver. See, Rudolph's like, okay, the defense is weakest on the left here. I'm going to throw it up. A great receiver like a DeAndre Hopkins is a master at this, will stop so that the cornerback is held up, potential pass interference at the least, and then conceal him off and then make a grab. But this receiver just, yeah, see? Pass interference. I'm a savant with this stuff. I'm clairvoyant. I'm telling ya. Look, perfect. Right into the end zone. Alright. Now we'll go Mason Rudolph versus... Please tell me someone made a highlight tape. Did no one make a highlight tape of Mason in the Bills game? Because there was one throw to George Pickens, I thought, this guy is clearly the best. Essentially, if you want a quarterback who can evaluate where the defense is weakest and hit his receivers with accuracy, good timing, and have good ball security as far as holding the ball with 2 hands, it's just... no one's better. Alright, so... So what was Dane Brugler saying about a weak arm? Like, that is just unjustified slander, bro. we'll try and find this one throw that I thought was unbelievable. Okay, so this is a perfect example of his ball security, right? So drops back, and this is where he can see that his receivers aren't going to get open fast enough for him to get the ball away considering the rush, so he takes it upon himself to run with the ball. See? Steps this guy. He's not like a stunning athlete, but he can get to where he wants to go, and then dives for the first down. And this is 3rd and 6, so he had to really make it. And the whole time he's holding it with 2 hands, so how are you going to swipe the ball out of his hands that way? And he helicopters like John Elway. Here's that beautiful deep ball. George Pickens is making everything look difficult. Like, just slow down. Just slow down and grab it. Grab it like that, rather than turning around and then falling backwards and potentially smashing your head on the turf, which he does. I've never seen a player who looks more gumpy despite being kind of athletic. Like, he's hurt. And he can make some plays on the fly. See, look how good he is, man. Look at the accuracy. Quickly, like it was a snap that wasn't perfect into his hands. It quickly finds the seams and just drops it right in the bucket. I mean, who can throw a better out route, dude? All right, so what could a naysayer say? All right, yeah, he's not as good as Mahomes. He's not as good as Lamar Jackson. Is it running with the ball? Because if it's running with the ball, I'll show you a Mason Rudolph highlight that shows that he can run with the ball. All right, watch this. Where is it? I don't know where it is. Mason Rudolph, Tracy Walker. Tracy Walker killed Mason Rudolph? If it's the play that I'm thinking of, boom! Tracy Walker gets knocked out. And Rudolph holding the ball with 2 hands. So Rudolph can make throws all over the field, any throw you want. On the run as well, we saw that early on in this video. And he can escape. Stood in the pocket a little bit too long there, but again, he's a big dude, so probably a bit difficult to bring down. And hard to strip sack. Oh, there's this one play that he makes. It's against the Lions, I think. Just bear with me while I try and find it. Okay, here we go. Alright. Was that Pickens getting absolutely dropped? Ooh, that was a big hit. I don't know if it was Pickens. Alright, play action. Wheels around. His atrocious blocking. Atrocious. Alright, so nothing's on. And now he's like, oh shit. Alright. And yeah, he's not a Lamar Jackson in the open field, but he gets to where he wants to go, as I said. Alright, moving on forward. And so he can make plays with his legs as well. Oh, this is the Tracy Walker play. And this is where I like Tracy Walker, but he's an example of a safety who's not putting his head in the right spot. Like, you hit him with your right shoulder in this instance, and boom, knocked out cold. You deserve it, Tracy. Alright, so yeah, in this tape I include a bunch of drops where it's like, okay, it should have been caught probably. He can readjust and make accurate throws. Here's that deep ball. Alright, so what else do you want to say about him? What else? I'm telling you. Look, if you replace Tua Tagovailoa with Mason Rudolph, the Dolphins would obliterate teams. They'd be dropping like 50 points a game because you've got Tyreek, you've got Jalen Waddle, you've got a dominant offensive line, particularly when Connor Williams is healthy. Raheem Mostert, like the running backs are all right. Durham Smythe, I think he's the tight end. He's all right. Like, whereas Tua's just fumbling and just putting up great numbers because you're playing with great players. And so, look, I'd be interested to see people's feedback. Like, what kind of flaw did you see in Rudolph's game here? But if the role of your quarterback is to get the ball where it needs to go, Rudolph is a master, and he's the best player I've ever seen. That's it.